Hey everybody, Greg from Park Journey. Hope you're all doing all right and having a good week. So I've been planning on putting together a couple of videos this week. It's been a really busy day or a couple of days. I was going to do a video about Desperado Closing. I was going to do a video about the delay of Quantum Accelerator at Six Flags New England, and also the other straddle coasters in the United States still being closed after a few weeks. Really no explanation what's going on there. I was going to do a video about celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the Six Flags Cedar Fair merger and asking the question online, what was everybody's opinion? I was going to share some of those, and then also some thoughts on a panel announcement coming up for Midsummer Scream with both John Murdy and Michael Aiello from Universal Hollywood and Orlando, and talk about their upcoming panel at Midsummer Scream. And so all these kind of ideas were kind of floating in my head. So I'm just going to do it all. I'm going to do one video. I'm not going to waste time and do like all these different videos for all these different things. I'm going to share it all. So we'll go ahead and start right away. Before I do, make sure you click below to subscribe. As always, greatly appreciated. So first, we're going to start off with some news yesterday that came out from Vegas Advantage online regarding Buffalo Bills in Primm, Nevada, which is, if you don't know, is right on the border of California, Nevada. And the news that the resort is closing after this holiday weekend. If you look on their website, there are no rooms available. It's all blocked out after Sunday. And that most likely means that the Desperado is not going to ever reopen, which, let's be honest, at this point, it's been 6 years since it opened. So the chances of it ever reopening before this news were pretty slim. I have seen some comments today, especially on our Facebook page, saying that only the hotel is not accepting new reservations, but that the casino is still going to be open, which honestly, I don't know why. We were there just about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and it was completely deserted. So if you, like I said, if you're from California and you ever made that drive to Vegas in the late 90s, early 2000s, stopping at Buffalo Bills was kind of, I don't want to say mandatory, but we all did it, whether it was on a Friday afternoon driving into Vegas or a Sunday afternoon leaving Vegas. We were always stopping at Buffalo Bills, sometimes both. Sometimes we actually stayed at Buffalo Bills. Sometimes we would stay at Buffalo Bills instead of staying in Vegas and then just drive into Vegas. Sometimes we would stay at Buffalo Bills on a Friday, drive into Vegas on a Saturday, spend the night in Vegas on Saturday and drive home Sunday. We did it all. But at some point for all of our Vegas trips in the late 90s, early 2000s, Buffalo Bills was a part of it. And to be honest, it was so packed. Sometimes you couldn't even find parking at Buffalo Bills. You'd have to park at either Primm Valley or across the freeway at Whiskey Pete's and take the monorail over to Buffalo Bills. Lines for the coaster were always long. They had the food court. Everything was packed in there. The buffet, things like that. So here's some pictures throughout the years of Buffalo Bills and Desperado. Some of these pictures go back to the early 2000s. They're in a folder of all of our Kodak camera pictures from our very first digital camera. So not the best quality, but you can see some of the pictures there of Desperado in action, and then some other pictures coming up here from Andrew's visit, I believe in 2017, when he actually did get to ride it, and then some of our pictures from last year. When we visited, obviously everything was closed. Even the buffet is now at Denny's. So it's kind of an end of the era. At one point, this was the tallest coaster on the West Coast. Opened in 1994. I've seen some people say it was the tallest coaster in the world at the time. There's a lot of debate on that. So I'll just kind of say tallest coaster in the West Coast. And that would have been until Superman The Escape opened in 1997. So for 3 years or so, it held that title as the tallest coaster on the West Coast. We still do have one hyper coaster here on the West Coast, which is Goliath at Magic Mountain. We definitely need some more. So anyway, rest in peace to Desperado. I don't see any way that this coaster gets saved. Like I said, it's been standing but not operating now for 6 years. There are rumors that it does test once in a while to keep its certification. Never seen it testing. Haven't seen video or pictures of it testing in the last few years. So I would, wager to say the coaster is no more. It's also 31 years old at this point. It has been standing there for 6 years. It's an Arrow. No longer in they're no longer manufacturing rights for almost 25 years now. So at some point, you just got to kind of say, okay, it was there. Sad to see it go. It's time to move on. And I think that's where we are right now with Desperado. So the next story that came out this morning was the Straddle coaster at Six Flags New England. Quantum Accelerator is not going to open this year. It is going to open in 2026 now. Right away, all of the comments that I was seeing online was, well, this is what happens with Six Flags. This is a Six Flags thing. This is it. Everybody is so quick to want to blame Six Flags. In this case here, it is not Six Flags. It is Intamin. How do we know this? Because all of the other straddle coasters in the United States at SeaWorld San Diego, SeaWorld Texas, and at Busch Gardens Williamsburg have been closed for quite a few weeks now. I also did see some comments earlier today that the straddle coaster in Australia has also been closed for a few weeks. But I think the ones in Europe, from what I've seen, the ones in Europe are not closed, which seems weird. So I've heard a lot of different things, whether it's because of the launches, it's maybe the restraints. I'm not sure. Don't know why the restraints would be different between the European models and the United States models / Australian models, but there you go. So anyway, I'm really not sure what's going on. Obviously, we haven't heard anything from the SeaWorld parks about them being closed, when they're going to reopen. But obviously, the fix is not something that's going to be quick. So Six Flags New England made the decision to just delay their coaster until 2026. Probably the best move at this point. It's now moving on to the July 4th weekend. There's not really too much of the season left at Six Flags New England, about 2 months or so. So at this point, put all your staff into this year's maintenance and things like that, and then just open the coaster next year. I'm perfectly good with that. I think that's the right decision. Speaking of Six Flags, yesterday as well, Canada's Wonderland did release a kind of semi POV of Alpine Fury, not a full front row POV yet, but we'll hopefully get that over the next couple of days here. Happy Canada Day to our Canadian friends, Canadian family, honorary Canadian. Got my Blue Jays hat on today, got my Rush Canada Day shirt on today as well. So happy Canada Day. Speaking of Six Flags, today is actually the 1-year anniversary of the Six Flags Cedar Fair merger, if you can believe it. So we did pose a question on our social media today asking what people's thoughts were about the Six Flags merger. So I'm going to kind of go through and share some of those. So I'll be kind of looking over here at my other computer here. So let's see what we got here. Let's see, we've got Coaster Kate. Coasters and hockey jerseys. Awful because my home park is Great Adventure. Obviously, Great Adventure has probably seen the biggest amount of changes so far since the Six Flags merger happened. CC Ron 10, worse than I thought it would be. Great Adventure has better food and TLC on the buildings, but too much was removed. The Thrill Dude says that it could have been worse. Let's hope it gets better. He's having realistic optimism, and actually, I think that's kind of where we are too, or at least where I am. Is that our master studios right now not great. Big parks are hurting, but the smaller ones, from what I've seen, are seeing a lot of quality improvements, operations improving, and maintenance budgets for the smaller parks seem to increase slightly. And I kind of actually agree with that as well. ATL Sloan, or Atlanta Sloan, of all the parks to get blessed by this merger, I'm just glad it was my home park with Six Flags Over Georgia, which I did not see coming. Extremely impressed by the changing culture coming out of the park ops and management, which is great. One of the comments was, I'll never forgive them for closing Six Flags America. Now, let's be clear. We don't know if that's because of the merger. Six Flags America has been rumored to be closing for quite a while. So perhaps it has nothing to do with merger at all. John says Six Flags Great America basically hasn't seen any meaningful changes yet, except for the new coaster. Hoping we get more beautification for the 50th, because the parks hope we get more beautification for the 50th. Let's see. Andrew Lopez says, what a mess so far. Hope it changes, but not looking great. Cedar Point is being run like Six Flags, and Six Flags is still being run like Six Flags. Let's see. Midwest Info Guide says, I think it's too early to say how it'll all work out. I'm not saying, I still say not forming a new company with a new name was a mistake. Six Flags might be the more recognizable name, but it is a tarnished brand. It is synonymous with cheap and rundown. Let's see. Raccoon CD says, I went to California's Great America Magic Mountain and Knott's with my family in a few months. I would like it so far, and most problems were already existing. No new issues I could pick up on, which I think is it's a fair assessment. And then there were some other comments about the closure of California's Great America, which we do know would have happened with or without the merger. So I don't think that that really can be blamed on this merger as well. As far as I'm concerned, it's it's still too early, even though it's been a full year. I think it's going to take a good 2 to 3 years to really know how it's all going to work out in the end. And then lastly, today, announced by Midsummer Scream, both John Murdy and Michael Aiello will be speaking at the Halloween Horror Nights panel at Midsummer Scream next month. We will, of course, be there. We are there every year. Very thankful to be invited out to Midsummer Scream every year. They are amazing. We love it every year. We will definitely be at that panel. Obviously, we'll see what it is that they announce. They did a panel in 2017 together. So it's been a full 8 years since Michael and John were on stage together, along with Chris Williams was there as well. So very excited to see what they've got cooking for Midsummer Scream this year. All right, that's going to wrap it up. It's been a busy news couple of days, actually, not even a week. I hope you all enjoyed a quick recap of this week's news. Take care, and we will talk to you soon.